There's a song at the end of the game. It's a song you don't hear anywhere else, a song that contains the melodies of others but hides itself from the player. It's a song of resolution, a medley of childhood wonder. Some played the game and never saw it, never heard what it had to offer. It just patiently waited, sitting on the other side of an achievement many players brushed past. Others heard its melody, but likely only once or twice. Now they just press the escape button to move on. But subconsciously, the player remembers. How could the player forget? You were sitting there, maybe on your friend's living room floor or in an uncomfortable kitchen chair. A light flickered in front of your eyes, text on a screen rolling upwards and out of sight. How could you have forgotten? The game spoke to you. It told you stories of the universe, of your significance, of your dreams. How could you have forgotten? It's been there ever since you left it, subconsciously waiting for you to come back. You've been living this story ever since you first read it. It's a story, no, it's a song you don't hear anywhere else. Do you remember? On April 25th, 2024, I found myself thinking about Minecraft. I didn't necessarily want to play, it wasn't that kind of day. Instead, I was reminiscing on the nostalgia of Minecraft, something that also wasn't anything new. So I hopped onto YouTube and played some Minecraft songs to relax while doing schoolwork. This is likely a relatable experience to many of you watching this video, something you have likely enjoyed. The themes of Haggstrom, Mice on Venus, and Subwoofer Lullaby ringing through our ears while life passes by. It's so calming, and there isn't more I could say about these pieces of music that haven't already been said. I absolutely love just letting YouTube shuffle these beautiful pieces of music while I focus on being an adult or whatever that means. These songs, they cohesively all belong to us, and we've grown up with their melodies. It's a rarity that our generations can experience together. This music brings us all closer as a collective. But, you see, these pieces of music were all in the game itself. All these cute and quirky songs playing through my ears, they accompanied our adventures with friends, rage quits on Hypixel, and summer nights. And just like in game, these songs all distance themselves in the background of my mind, providing an ambiance that takes me back to being a kid. The hundreds of video compilations of this game's soundtrack on YouTube further prove that point. They are perfect songs for studying and giving us a dose of nostalgia that is vital in this crazy world of ours. But there is another song that finds its way into these playlists. It sounds so familiar, yet so different at the same time. It is over double the length of its counterparts, and I don't remember ever hearing it in-game. It fills me with curiosity and childlike whimsy, but I don't have any specific memories attached to it. All I know is that it distracts me from my schoolwork and places me somewhere new, somewhere fascinating and expansive. So when I looked further into its sound and listened to it isolated, I found something I did not intend to find. I researched its creation and its symbolism, and I came to a realization. This song was meant for Minecraft, but has become something else. It is extended beyond the confines of ones and zeros. This song is about something much bigger than that. This is a song meant for the universe.
suppose a bit coincidentally given what we've been talking about earlier tonight, a short story about a Tipperary orphan who accidentally urinated on a Fianna Fáil minister. It recently won the biggest short story prize in the world. It was written by my next guest. Now, as a child, he told his career guidance teacher that he wanted to be a pop star in his 20s, a writer in his 30s, and a filmmaker in his 40s. He's just turned 40, and the film script is underway. Will you welcome, please, Mr. Julian Gough?
Julian Gough is the writer behind the infamous end screen poem of Minecraft. After defeating the Ender Dragon, a poem scrolls in front of the player, telling them a story that transitions its scope from a simple block game to the entirety of the universe, and then back again. It is existential, beautiful, and completely out of left field for a kid's game. But this story goes deeper than that. Just before the game was set to launch in 2011, Marcus Persson, who you know as Notch, brought Gough in directly after a fan recommended him. His purpose was to write an ending fitting for Minecraft. Gough was given complete creative freedom by Notch and to study what Minecraft was about. He played it with his daughter for days, gathering inspiration from the blocky worlds they created together. When it was finally time to write the poem he was hired for, Gough described his writing experience in a very interesting way. Quote, "I wrote that ending in longhand, with a pen, on the blank pages of a scruffy orange notebook, and there were moments when the pen sped up in my hand, words poured onto the paper as I watched, fascinated, and I had no idea what the words I had just written said until I read them. At such moments, it felt as though that ending were somehow being written by the universe itself, through me, that it wanted to be understood." And it is in that last sentence that I found myself sitting back in my chair, with my computer screen staring back at me. I have been listening to this song for a long time, and every time it plays, I find myself taken out of my experience studying because it sounds so grand. I don't remember this song ever playing in the game. Does it? The song Alpha, composed by C418, is nothing short of a musical masterpiece. It serves as a medley, referencing a number of songs found in the game, and has accompanied the end credit poem released all the way back in 2011, the first official full game release of Minecraft. The song is just over 10 minutes long, being the second longest song in the game, only behind The End off the same beta album, which was released in full in 2013. So there was my answer. Alpha is in fact in the game of Minecraft. It just plays at a point I had forgotten about. What further shocks me is how many Minecraft fans don't know much about this album that it comes from, only hearing it in passing in game and using its record discs in their blocky homes. According to C418 himself, quote, "The big difference of Volume Beta is that the tone is both more positive and at times very dark. Some of the songs even have percussion, which is something that was a complete rarity with Volume Alpha. For example, Taswell or Aria Math. The instrumentation, musical expression, and emotional impact of this album is heavy. When he says that there is much more juxtaposition in this album, he means it. The first song on the album, Key, tells you everything you need to know about what you're going to hear. It has this shimmering quality to its sound, creating a first impression of mystery and intrigue for the listener. Listening to the album in order, you'd expect there to be a short song to follow, but instead, you end up listening to Alpha. It is certainly a surprise that a 10-minute song is placed right after one that is under 2 minutes, creating a huge contrast in listening longevity. So, sure, that's great. But I bet you're wondering how this song relates to the universe. C418 said it himself that this song is a medley and a celebration of the songs on the original album for Minecraft. He didn't compose this with the universe in mind, he composed it with the player in mind. When he first finished it, maybe that was the case. But Julian Gough changed the song's meaning forever, in ways neither of them could have ever imagined.
Why is it cheaper to live in Berlin?
Well, because it's like Galway in the 80s, but with 3 million people. They've got 17% unemployment. They owe 60 billion euro. They're bankrupt. They're depressed. All the buildings are empty. So it's perfect for artists. I'm not even joking. Artists are coming there from New York. They're coming there from Peru. They're coming because that's what you need when you're an artist. You need poverty, and you need empty buildings.
Before Goff was brought in to create the end poem for Minecraft, he sent over a sample of his work, demonstrating his peculiar storytelling abilities for Notch to make sure they were on the same page. The short story was titled Eyehole, about an imaginary product that Apple created in the near future. It seems that it was one of Goff's most sought-after works. Notch absolutely loved it and brought Goff in, bringing us back to this existential poem right where we last left off. But I want to delay this part of the story just a bit longer, because there are layers to what I'm about to tell you. That short story, Eyehole, you can't find it anymore. Apple sent lawyers towards Goff, wanting him to change the story and not use their image. He subsequently took the story down and reworked it in a way that, quote, doesn't damage the story artistically. He promised to post it later the same year, reworked and improved. I bring this up because there's much more to the story of Goff, the developers of the game, and the creator of the game himself, Notch. To put it simply, Goff to this day still owns the end poem of Minecraft and has avoided a corporate shakedown to get the rights to it for years, unlike what happened with him and Apple. This is how he put it on his website. Quote, I wrote the end poem for Minecraft, the most popular video game of all time. I never signed a contract giving Mojang the rights to the end poem, and so Microsoft, who bought Minecraft from Mojang, also don't own it. I do. Rather than sue the company or fight with my old friend who founded the company and has since gone off in the deep end, I am dedicating the poem to the public domain. There is much more to the story, and I highly recommend checking out Riveting Materials' video about it on YouTube. It's an incredible video essay and worth your time. But this video isn't just about the poem, nor just about Goff. For a long time, lots of people didn't even think about this poem, letting it sit in the back of their subconscious while they grew up and did other things in their lives. It wasn't until the last couple years when it made a slight resurgence in the YouTube sphere, being discussed by massive channels and tiny ones alike. This brought people back, explaining to them the story and the theory behind this beautiful poem that seemed to confuse us more as kids rather than inspire us. I don't mean to speak for everyone when I say this, but it makes sense that an incredibly mature story and characteristic motif of life likely sailed over the heads of many of us as kids. I was absolutely part of this category. I watched these videos on YouTube and found an appreciation for this poem, one that I didn't expect to find. But even if, as a kid, I didn't think much about this poem, it still came back to me as an adult, and it has been lingering in the background of my life without me even realizing it. So, let's go back to the song. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one, but bear with me here. Listen closely. What do these chords make you think of? Minecraft? Probably. But keep listening. Close your eyes if you have to. Listen to the scale the bass provides. Listen to the journey across the black and white keys. It sounds like the piece is reaching out for something. The scale increases. The sound of Minecraft is changing, and each down bow from the strings adds a depth. It rises. There's voices in the background. Choir, like waves crashing on distant shores, stars hovering overhead. It brings us back. There is a constant feeling of reaching out towards something with this piece. It always has a sense of direction and holds a leash on the listener while they approach that destination. The space, no pun intended, between these intervals represents distance. The dynamic expression represents the scale of things we can't really comprehend. It's this beautiful relationship between solo piano and orchestral depth. This piece of music uses the sounds of Minecraft and pushes them beyond its confines into something truly unique. At the time, C418 composed the piece to celebrate the player. I believe it still does that today, but not just in-game. This piece was made for you, for your life, and Goff takes this idea and gives it to you directly. As we continue further on this journey, remember how much Goff and C418 achieved. Remember the experience Goff had writing this piece of poetry and how C418 did something completely different with this album. Because it is now that we take their passion for creation and apply it to ourselves. It's time to jump off the deep end. There are a couple lines in this poem that perfectly describe the relationship between itself, the music, and you. What's beautiful is that this poem is written so that when you return to it, even years later, it congratulates you on your next step, the next step of your lifelong journey, whatever it may be. It has reached a higher level now. It can read our thoughts. That doesn't matter. It thinks we are part of the game. I like this player. It played well. It did not give up. These first sentences welcome you with a warm, accomplished embrace, and it keeps you in this safe space. Words make a wonderful interface, very flexible, and less terrifying than staring at the reality behind the screen. Remember when I told you to listen closely, to close your eyes and tune your ear into the spaces between the frequencies vibrating through you? That is your connection with reality, the magnificent function of our universe that our brain is trying to desperately make sense of. The music makes you feel these emotions, and the words make you consider why. Why do you feel this way? Sometimes, through the noise of its thoughts, it hears the universe. Yes. All of these quotes happen in the first couple lines of this poem and guide your thoughts towards an understanding. If you can try and understand this poem's motives to show you the universe, then you can fully appreciate what it has to offer. The music does the exact same thing. You will hear it rise and fall. You will hear it twist and turn with your memories of songs you've heard before than new ones you have yet to hear. It will take you and what you think is reality and change it to greater proportions than you could ever imagine. I know it sounds crazy, but just trust me. I'm going to read out this poem for you from the start and play alpha in the background, just like it is in game. Remember these things I've told you, and listen beyond the music. This is about the universe. I see the player you mean. Yes. Take care. It has reached a higher level now. It can read our thoughts. That doesn't matter. It thinks we are part of the game. I like this player. It played well. It did not give up. It is reading our thoughts as though they were words on a screen. That is how it chooses to imagine many things when it is deep in the dream of a game. Words make a wonderful interface, very flexible and less terrifying than staring at the reality behind the screen. They used to hear voices before players could read, back in the days when those who did not play called the players witches and warlocks, and players dreamed they flew through the air on sticks powered by demons. What did this player dream? This player dreamed of sunlight and trees, of fire and water. It dreamed it created, and it dreamed it destroyed. It dreamed it hunted and was hunted. It dreamed it shelter. The original interface, 1,000,000 years old, and it still works. But what true structure did this player create and the reality behind the screen? It worked with 1,000,000 others to sculpt a true world in the fold of. It cannot read that thought. No, it has not yet achieved the highest level. That it must achieve in the long dream of life, not the short dream of a game. Does it know that we love it? That the universe is kind? Sometimes, through the noise of its thoughts, it hears the universe, yes. But there are times it is sad in the long dream. It creates worlds that have no summer, and it shivers under a black sun, and it takes its sad creation for reality. To cure it of sorrow would destroy it. The sorrow is part of its own private task. We cannot interfere. Sometimes when they are deep in dreams, I want to tell them they are building true worlds of reality. Sometimes I want to tell them of their importance to the universe. Sometimes when they have not made a true connection in a while, I want to help them to speak the word they fear. It reads our thoughts. Sometimes I do not care. Sometimes I wish to tell them, this world you take for truth is merely. I wish to tell them that they see so little of reality in their long dream. And yet they play the game. But it would be so easy to tell them. Too strong for this dream. To tell them how to live is to prevent them from living. I will not tell the player how to live. The player is growing restless. I will tell the player a story. But not the truth. No, a story that contains the truth safely, in a cage of words, not the naked truth that can burn over any distance. Give it a body again. Yes, player, use its name. You, player of games. Good. Take a breath now. Take another. Feel air in your lungs. Let your limbs return. Yes, move your fingers. Have a body again, under gravity and air. Respawn in the long dream. There you are. Your body touching the universe again at every point. As though you were separate things. As though we were separate things. Who are we? Once we were called the spirit of the mountain, father, sun, mother, moon, ancestral spirits, animal spirits, jinn, ghosts, the green man, then gods, demons, angels, poltergeists, aliens, extraterrestrials, leptons, quarks. The words change. We do not change. We are the universe. We are everything you think isn't you. You are looking at us now, through your skin and your eyes. And why does the universe touch your skin and throw light on you? To see you, player, to know you, and to be known. I shall tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a player. The player was you. Sometimes it thought itself human. On the thin crust of a spinning globe of molten rock, the ball of molten rock circled a ball of blazing gas that was 330,000 times more massive than it. They were so far apart that light took 8 minutes to cross the gap. The light was information from a star, and it could burn your skin with 150 million kilometers away. Sometimes the player dreamed it was a miner, on the surface of a world that was flat and infinite. The sun was a square of white. The days were short. There was much to do, and death was a temporary inconvenience. Sometimes the player dreamed it was lost in a story. Sometimes the player dreamed it was other things in other places. Sometimes these dreams were disturbing, sometimes very beautiful indeed. Sometimes the players woke from one dream into another, then woke from that into a third. Sometimes the player dreamed it watched words on a screen. Let's go back. The atoms of the player were scattered in the grass, in the rivers, in the air, in the ground. A woman gathered the atoms. She drank and ate and inhaled, and the woman assembled the player in her body. And the player awoke from the warm, dark world of its mother's body into the long dream. And the player was a new story, never told before, written in letters of DNA. And the player was a new program, never run before, generated by a source code of 1 billion years old. And the player was a new human, never alive before, made from nothing but milk and love. You are the player, the story, the program, the human, made from nothing but milk and love. Let's go further back. The 7 billion atoms of the player's body were created long before this game in the heart of a star. So the player too is information from a star, and the player moves through a story, which is a forest of information planted by a man called Julian on a flat, infinite world created by a man called Marcus that exists inside a small, private world created by the player who inhabits a universe created by Sometimes the player created a small private world that was soft and warm and simple, sometimes hard and cold and complicated. Sometimes it built a model of the universe in its head, flecks of energy moving through vast empty spaces. Sometimes it called those flecks electrons and protons. Sometimes it called them planets and stars. Sometimes it believed it was in a universe that was made of energy, that was made of offs and ons, zeros and ones, lines of code. Sometimes it believed it was playing a game. Sometimes it believed it was reading words on a screen. You are the player reading words. Shh. Sometimes the player read lines of code on a screen, decoded them into the words, decoded words into meaning, decoded meaning into feelings, emotions, theories, ideas, and the player started to breathe faster and deeper and realized it was alive. It was alive. Those 1,000 deaths had not been real. The player was alive. You are alive. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the sunlight that came through the shuffling leaves of the summer trees. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the light that fell from a crisp night sky of winter, where a fleck of light in the corner of the player's eye might be a star 1,000,000 times as massive as the sun, boiling its planets to plasma in order to be visible for a moment to the player, walking home at the far side of the universe, suddenly smelling food, almost at the familiar door, about to dream again. And sometimes the player believed the universe had spoken to it through the zeros and ones, through the electricity of the world, through the scrolling words on a screen at the end of a dream. And the universe said, "I love you." And the universe said, "You have played the game well." And the universe said, "Everything you need is within you." And the universe said, "You are stronger than you know." And the universe said, "You are the daylight." And the universe said, "You are the night." And the universe said, "The darkness you fight is within you." And the universe said, "The light you seek is within you." And the universe said, "You are not alone." And the universe said, "You are not separate from every other thing." And the universe said, "You are the universe tasting itself, talking to itself, reading its own code." And the universe said, "I love you, because you are love." And the game was over, and the player woke up from the dream, And the player began a new dream. And the player dreamed again, dreamed better. And the player was the universe. And the player was love. You are the player. Wake up. There's a song at the end of the game. It's a song you don't hear anywhere else, and yet hear everywhere at once. It's a song of stardust, a medley of universal proportions. Some played the game and never saw it, never heard what it had to offer. But you did. You remember. How could you forget? You listened so close that you heard something whisper back. You found what has been there since your childhood. Minecraft's forgotten song about the universe. Well, that was weird. What do you think? Am I just spitting nonsense, or is there really something here? This video was gonna get existential, but I never intended for it to get this existential. Man.